Hi, I'm Angie Avant. I'm a Canadian indie author who writes feminist fiction, and right now I am in Germany on a research trip for my latest book that's coming out on May 31st, 2026, called Witchy Women Hammer. It's coming out on the blue moon, and the premise of the book is that these four elemental witches have just discovered they're part of a prophecy, and they're meant to go back in time and smash the patriarchy at its roots. And they're doing that by trying to stop the hammer of the witches from being written. Hammer of the Witches, also known in Latin as Malleus Maleficarum. It was written by a Catholic monk named Heinrich Kramer in Speyer, Germany in 1486, and that is where I am right now. I just got back from touring around all day today in Speyer. But first, I wanted to start with yesterday, which was technically my second day in Germany, but my first day was basically a travel day. So yesterday, I went straight from the Munich airport to Burghausen because I wanted to visit this castle, the Burghausen Castle. It's right on the border between Germany and Austria, and it's the world's longest castle. I thought it was the longest castle in Europe, but it says here that it's the world's longest castle. And there are multiple reasons why I wanted to go here. I am, without giving away too many spoilers, I am planning on using this castle in my story. So I wanted to go there, be there. There's certain scenes that I wanted to actually walk the path that my witchy characters will be walking. I really wanted to understand the geography of the castle so that when I'm writing certain scenes that it'll be true to the actual castle. So that was part of the motivation for wanting to go here. But also there's 5 courtyards here, and in the third courtyard there is what's now called the Witch's Tower, which was, it's called that because women, mostly women, but anyone that was accused of witchcraft, they were held in this tower. And then right next door happened to be the torture tower, which is where they would be tortured. And although the Witch's Tower is basically apartments now, you can't access it, there is right next door, as part of the old torture tower, a museum, a torture museum, which I visited, and I'll put the footage in here now. For those accused of witchcraft, punishment often began long before any verdict was reached. Interrogation was designed to force compliance. Suspects were subjected to prolonged questioning under threat, isolation, and physical restraint. Confession was considered proof even when it was extracted under duress. One method involved confinement in devices intended to cause sustained discomfort rather than immediate injury. Among these was the chair of nails. A seated frame lined with metal points, victims were restrained in place, unable to shift their weight, while the pressure itself was used as leverage to break resistance. The intent was not speed, but endurance. Another form of punishment relied on humiliation and psychological control. Accused individuals were sometimes forced to wear iron masks, some shaped to restrict speech or vision. These masks served both as restraint and public degradation. A visible marker of guilt before any trial had concluded. Silence was enforced, identity was erased. Imprisonment itself was part of the torment. Cells were dark, cold, and deliberately isolating. Food was limited, sleep was disrupted, time lost its shape. And always there was the threat of escalation. Those who did not confess were told the process would continue, longer confinement, harsher questioning, further suffering, until they complied. The system relied on fear, not justice. I was really sad after leaving that museum, going into the dungeon, and thinking about the poor people, mostly women, that were subjected to this treatment, that were likely, in all likelihood, innocent. It's an absolutely brutal part of our history. Let's be real. But I also went into the museum of the castle itself, and I'll show you a little bit of that now. At the heart of the complex sits the chapel, a quieter space that tells its own story. Ornate yet restrained, it reflects how religion was woven tightly into governance. Faith offered comfort to some, justification to others, and often reinforced the social order the castle was built to protect. The main castle once served as a strategic stronghold for the Bavarian dukes. Its thick walls, narrow passageways, and elevated position were designed for dominance over land, trade routes, and people. From here, authority was enforced and displayed. Housed within the castle's former residential quarters, the galleries feature works drawn from the Bavarian state collection of paintings spanning the late medieval period through the early 17th century. These pieces were not created as decoration alone, they were instruments of belief, authority, and storytelling. The collection expands into large-scale historical paintings from the early 1600s, commissioned by Bavarian dukes to commemorate political victories and dynastic power. They remind us that art has long been used to shape memory, to decide which stories endure. In addition to the State Gallery, the Castle Museum features medieval artifacts, furniture, weapons, and sculptural works that evoke everyday life and noble identity in centuries past, together forming an immersive portrait of artistic achievement and historical narrative anchored in this uniquely long fortress. As mentioned previously, at more than 1 kilometer long, it is the longest castle complex in the world. You can see the orange roofs off into the distance. What makes Burghausen remarkable is how clearly it reveals the layers of power, faith, and control that shaped medieval life. I am planning on using some historical figures from around this castle, so I don't want to give away any spoilers, but it was really important for me to see this castle for the purpose of writing this book. So after I finished touring the castle, and I had a limited amount of time because I ended up sleeping in, so I didn't see, there was so much to see, it was huge, but I had to head out, I had to catch a train, and I took multiple trains to go from Burghausen to Munich, and then to Speyer, or Speyer, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, I think it's Speyer, which is where I am today. And today I went to the Speyer Cathedral, which is going to be used in my story as well. So roll the clip there. I'll give you a little bit of background and history about the cathedral. Built as an imperial cathedral, Speyer Cathedral became one of the most important symbols of authority in the Holy Roman Empire, a space where religion and political power were deliberately intertwined. By the 15th and 16th centuries, Speyer stood at the center of imperial life, hosting imperial councils, assemblies where emperors, princes, and church officials shaped the laws and future of the empire. Decisions made here affected land ownership, religious conformity, legal authority, and the boundaries of acceptable belief. As Europe entered a period of deep anxiety marked by plague, social unrest, and the early tremors of the Reformation, the need to enforce order intensified. It was within this climate that figures like Heinrich Kramer found legitimacy. Kramer, a Dominican inquisitor, struggled at times to gain local support for his witchcraft prosecutions. His authority was repeatedly challenged until it was reinforced in 1484 by Pope Innocent VIII, who issued an endorsement of Kramer's work. While there is no evidence that the Malleus Maleficarum was written here, the ideology it promoted, fear, suspicion of deviation, and the need for control, echoed through spaces like this. It's an unfortunate truth that witch hunts were upheld by institutions, sanctioned by religion, and enabled by political power. Now, I had planned to go to the Museum of History, but I was informed, at least I think I was informed, there was a bit of a language barrier, but it looked, if I understood correctly, the museum was basically shut down other than the special exhibit, which was the superheroes exhibit. But the rest of the museum, where the information about the cathedral, and when I was looking online, apparently there's stuff around paganism in the region. That was all closed because they were doing renovations, I think, if I understood correctly. Luckily though, there was a Christmas market. So I had a lot of fun exploring the Christmas market. Now that we've kind of talked about the book side of things, I thought I would share some of my thoughts around my visit here in Germany. This is my first time going to Germany. I've never been here before. And here are some of my observations. One thing that I noticed, a big difference, was drivers always stop for pedestrians. I really love the train system here. The train system here is very easy to understand, even with the language barrier. It's very clearly marked. The food is so good. You know, when you think of places like Italy, of course you think of the food. You don't really, at least for me, I didn't think of food when I was thinking of Germany, but there are some incredible desserts, like there's streusels. The meat is so flavorful. It's really yummy. And I got a schnitzel that you could actually put in a bun. Like basically there's all sorts of ways of putting meat in a bun that are delicious. That was surprisingly good is I picked up a pretzel from the grocery store, from their like bakery section at the front of the store. And it had butter in it. It had been like cut in half somehow and butter, and it was so good. Like I love pretzels to begin with, but the pretzel with butter, oh, it was incredible. And it was cold. Like I didn't eat it right away. I can imagine if it had still been warm, like if I'd eaten it fresh, it would be even better. Can you tell that I love food? I love food, and I love to experience the food from different cultures, from different regions, and I've been really enjoying the food here. I make it a point when I visit any new place to try and eat as much of their food as possible and try and speak their language as much as possible. It's kind of a double-edged sword because when I use the very little German that I have, they respond to me in German and then I don't know what they're saying. So then I have to kind of admit, like, I'm sorry, I don't speak German. I really feel it's important. I'm in their country. I should try and speak their language as much as possible. You know, I shouldn't expect people to speak English to me is how I see things. So I am trying my best to speak in German as much as possible, but I'm struggling a bit because I speak English, French, and Spanish. So with my French and Spanish, when I went to places like Italy or Greece, because they're all like Latin-based languages, I was able to kind of pick up, like have a sort of rough idea of what was being said to me. But here, I have no base. Like I have no idea what, it just sounds like gibberish to me. I don't really understand it. I actually had a really interesting experience this afternoon. I went to a street that's named after the owner of the print shop that printed the Hammer of the Witches back in the day. Now, the printing press was a relatively new piece of technology back then. From what I understand, it was around 50 years old, give or take. So it was a big deal. Like, it wasn't like there was a printing press in every town. So that's why it happened here in Speyer. So this guy was a pretty big deal. He was an innovator and was the one that printed the manual for how to persecute witches. So I thought it might be interesting to come to the street that's named after him, because for my research I couldn't find where the printing house would have been back then in the 1400s. So this is the next best thing, I guess. And as I was about to leave, 3 German ladies were walking by, and one of them said something, and I said hello, and then she started speaking to me in German, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I don't understand German. And then she like grabbed me by the shoulder with a big smile, and she's just still talking to me in German, and I really wish that I knew what she said, because I think it was important, and I think it was kind. Like, just the way that her face looked so happy, and she was saying something nice, I'm pretty sure, but I have no idea. But I had a very special moment with a stranger. There's a little story time for you. But thank you so much for your interest and for your support. This has been a really great experience so far. Very cool. I love Germany. I am so grateful. The people here are very nice. They're very kind. So yeah, I've been very lucky. People are very kind here. They're very polite. It's been great. So thank you so much for listening, for your support, and I will see you in Munich.